Now, I could argue that if you blow off 4 or 5 episodes of your own podcast and you're fucking the advertisers and, you know, you negotiate with other companies and then you come back and you're treated like it's this big thing, that's okay. And so I said, and so Dave's like, you got to go. Like, you're gone. It's, you know, you're fired or whatever. And I said, well, you know, Erika texted me during the show and she said, I'm upset. I'm hurt that you feel this way about me. And during the show, I kind of reacted to it. And then I kind of thought whatever was over around 12:30. I was actually responding to her text around 12:30 when she texted me back and she said, I actually texted her a copy and pasted Pat McAfee's exit tweet he did.
Oh, God.
which wasn't like a thing. I was just pointing out, we'll talk about it later. It was more to sort of further some points I've been making before. Not like to be an asshole or anything.
Oh, okay.
And she responded right away. She's like, I'm sorry it had to end like this. It breaks my heart that it didn't work out. You're going to be great, whatever you do next. So I was like, what the fuck is, okay. Well, what did I miss? And as I'm texting back my response to that, Dave calls me. So, and this is, I don't know, an hour and a half after the show ended, and probably 4 hours after we did the thing on YouTube.
Yes.
Which I'm sure you didn't see.
And as that's happening, Mike and I have both been locked out of our emails, that's when the Minifans started to notice.
So everyone's starting to notice. Dave calls me. He's like, what did you fucking do? And so I said, and so Dave's like, you got to go. Like, you're gone. It's, you know, you're fired or whatever. And I said, well, you know, really? Okay. And then we kind of debated it for a minute or two. And maybe he'll give his opinion, his story of the rundown. Maybe he doesn't care. So maybe he'll have a different specific story than mine. We kind of went back and forth, and I was like, well, it's not going to happen again. I get it. And he was like, all right, you know, it was like one of these 90-second fiery things again. It is weird that, you know, like when it's me with the Albright thing with Steve or with Mike or with me, it's always you're fired. You know, that I find interesting, and that's okay. It's his company, and like I said, he was great about it. And his core point is right about advertising. You don't fuck with advertising. Now, I could argue that if you blow off 4 or 5 episodes of your own podcast and you're fucking the advertisers and, you know, you negotiate with other companies and then you come back and you're treated like it's this big thing, that's okay. Or if you allow a blog post to come up from somebody who is then going to try and fuck with advertising, that's fucking with advertising. But it doesn't matter. It's like saying if I killed somebody it does individually, what I did was stupid. So I ate it. I said, absolutely, I get it. And then we talked for a while. We had a pretty good conversation. And then we kind of went back and forth 3 or 4 times about other stuff. But, you know, at its core, that thing was wrong. I was angry. And when I get angry, sometimes I do things that are stupid. That was stupid. That is the only thing within that 20 or 30-minute thing that I would take back. So where it gets to me interesting or complicated is, and I don't know, you know, I'm not sure where the truth is. So it ends, and they take the whole episode down. The whole episode. I don't know if that's ever happened to Barstool. I have no idea. Maybe it has. Maybe it hasn't. I have absolutely no idea. So the whole thing's down, and I'm thinking this is fucking crazy. So I talked to Dave, I think, once, and I talked to Dave again about this. I was like, I'm happy to do a show on for some Monday morning and just say that, you know, the advertising was stupid, and you know, get that out there. And he was like, great, good. He was great. Like Dave was good in this guy. And Dave said to me in the conversation, he's like, I don't care what you say about KMarko. He's like, you fucking shit on whenever you want, shit on Ellie Schnitt whenever you want, shit on anybody whenever you want. Don't dump on advertisers, which is right. That's perfectly fair. No big deal. 1,000% right. I think the message also was like, you know, but KMarko is not going anywhere. Like, that's not going to change.
Yeah.
You know, you probably should understand that. And I said, okay. I mean, I disagree with it. You know, I think it'd be hard for me to work at a company where he still works. But at the same time, I did think, and I said this to Dave, I was like, you know, if I get fired right now, if KMarko then goes and does something passive aggressive on Twitter, writes some call, like, I'll just fucking lose my mind. You know, and I've also got 2 guys who work for me who would also be fired then too. So, you know, truthfully, like, if we're gonna be honest before we get to the finish line, the truth is we'll do the podcast as best as we can. For the next few months, my guess is it'll end poorly and we'll go and do subscription. I mean, I think everyone knows we're headed that way. Doesn't mean we won't try as hard as we can in this podcast. We'll do the best we can. We'll try and make as much money as we can for Barstool and for ourselves. But I think, you know, we've lost Dave's confidence. Like, I don't think you really cared that much before this. I think Erika now feels differently about us. And the sales staff absolutely fucking sucks. So, like, I don't know what the benefit is staying here anymore than the base salary. I don't know. Maybe we can have more conversations about it. But that's where I'm at right now on that. And maybe I'll change tomorrow morning, but I really doubt it. So I then get a text saying, from Erika saying, I'm saying, we did a 3-hour show and there's a lot of good stuff in it. And I don't know, after the first 20 minutes, I don't know how much it was Barstool, maybe 5% tops.
Yeah, not that much.
So she said, okay, you could leave everything but the Barstool stuff. So I told Steve that. And I was like, well, we're now at the point where Dave started off by saying, we'll never censor what you say, to having stories censored and deleted and not taken down, and having people call us racist, and having KMarko there, and now having this going on. I'm kind of like, what, my head's kind of spinning. And then Steve got a text, I think, from Erika saying that she specifically didn't want the stuff about her in there, right?
Yeah, so she's the one who actually asked me just to pull down the entire episode. It was kind of it was like a confusing flurry of messages. It was clear that it wasn't like a well thought out, here's what the policy is going to be. And she said, I think the text said, ideally the stuff about me could go as well.
Right.
So that's when we pulled down the whole episode.
And she called me today and we had a different conversation. And she said that everything, or yesterday, I forget, maybe it was today, yesterday, where, everything's in play. So I think maybe she was rattled on Friday and came to grips on Saturday. I mean, the reality is, I think I said this to her, is, you're the CEO, fine, but you also have a podcast and you also have a image. This is hockey playing, kind of roll with the guys, one of the guys, fuck this, fuck that. Well, if I disagree with something and we work at Barstool, I'm going to fucking call you out on it. If you don't like it, bark back. If not, be like everybody else. In this situation, you're in my opinion, no different than anybody else. I think she felt differently even yesterday than she did Friday. I think Friday she was rattled. She's never been criticized. I don't think like that before. Did I overreact to it? Maybe. If it was a 1 to 10 in terms of me going at somebody, I would put it at a 2, maybe a 3 by my standard. But she's never really dealt with that before. And there was a lot of stuff on Twitter. But to me, it looks worse when you take all that stuff down because people already saw it. The tweets were already out there. So as I said to her, I was like, this now is like, having a meeting with Intercom people, like where they're saying, don't say this, don't go after these people. And Dave said to me, go after Ellie all you want. And then, a couple of people on Friday told me, would prefer if you don't go after Ellie Schnitt anymore. So, and those people, some of those people changed their tune on Saturday and Sunday. Well, and my response to that was, she called me racist, and she called my fans racist. Fans who, are Barstool people. And since since we started here, there's been sort of this attitude where we're like these fucking shit people, like the Minifans. And it's like, they're pretty loyal audience.